Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So, today's story time is definitely pretty insane in my opinion, and I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video if you do, and let's get into it, because, yeah, it's an interesting one. So, today's story time all takes place the day after my 21st birthday. So, yeah, I just turned 21. I was, feeling pretty good, freshly 21 years old. That's kind of the age I feel like everybody kind of looks forward to. Not really sure why. I mean, I guess if you want to like get into bars and stuff with your friends, like that's one thing. But for me, like I wasn't really drinking at the time or like doing anything like that. So I was kind of just like the same dude I was at 20, just with a different number next to my name. Um, but yeah, it was the day after I turned 21. I just had my birthday party on my 21st birthday, so I had already celebrated. And the day after, I can't lie, your boy was a little bit hungover. The day of my 21st, I definitely drank a bit and partied with some friends. So yeah, I woke up the next day feeling pretty shitty. Definitely not good at all. Yeah, and I was like kind of just moping around the house. All my friends had left. My house was trashed. I was exhausted. And I get a phone call from one of my friends that didn't come to the party the night before because he had work. I get a call from my friend Dylan. I answer it. I was like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "Yo, how was the birthday party?" I was like, pretty good. I feel like shit today, though." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I bet." And I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "Well, first of all, I just want to say sorry I couldn't make it." And I'm like, "Dude, that's fine. Like, I know you had to work. You're all good." He's like, "Well, second of all, not sure if you're feeling up to it, being hungover and all, but there's another party going on tonight for my friend's birthday, and I have a +1, and I wanted to take you because I feel like you guys would all really get along." And at first, I just thought, no way. Like, I'm not going to another party tonight. Like, I feel like shit. Like, I'm good. But then I thought about it, and I was like, maybe I should be social. Maybe I shouldn't just sit inside all night and do nothing. So I just told him, I was like, "You know what? Let me think about it. Give me like an hour, and I'll get back to you." He's like, "Yeah, man, you're good. Like, take your time. The party's not till 7:30. I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." So like 2 hours later, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go. Like, I'm feeling a little bit better. At this point, I had drank some water, laid down for a little bit. I slept for like 30 minutes. And I felt a little bit better. So I was like, you know what? By 7:30, I'll probably be completely fine. And I just won't drink that much tonight. I'll be okay. So fast forward to 7:30. Dylan came to my house. He picked me up. Dylan wasn't drinking, so he was going to be the designated driver for me and anyone else that needed a ride home. And then we went to the party, got there. I knew absolutely nobody there. It was a birthday party for one of Dylan's friends. I think his name was Jason. And everybody there went to Dylan's high school. And I didn't go to Dylan's high school. We went to completely different schools. The only reason me and Dylan were friends is because we had a mutual friend that introduced us. So yeah, when I got to this party, I knew nobody. And at first it was a little bit awkward, but I quickly realized that Dylan was right. And everybody at this party was really cool and like super like similar to me. So within like 20 minutes of being there, Dylan introduced me to like a few of his friends, and I got along with all of them, and we all kind of had like a little group. It was pretty cool. And the first hour, 2 hours of the party were great. Really no complaints there. Things were good. Well, then things got a little bit weird. Okay, so about 2 hours into it, I had to pee, so I went to the bathroom, did my business, came back out, and I was thirsty. And at this point, I hadn't drank anything yet. I still hadn't drank a sip of alcohol, nothing. And I was thirsty, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to drink some water. So I go over to this little table in the living room that had a bunch of drinks on it. And there was bottles, there was like soda, and then there was two bowls. One looked like punch that had some like fruit floating in it and stuff, some red liquid. And the other one was just a clear liquid. And I thought, okay, like that looks like water. So I point to it and I ask one of the people at the table, who I did not know, I was like, "Hey, is that water?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Okay." So I grabbed the little like scoopy thing and I scoop some water into a cup and I sip it, and immediately it tastes really funny. Like, it doesn't taste like water. It tastes like 50% water, but the other 50% tasted really strange. If I could compare it to anything, it tasted like cleaning supplies, like how cleaning supplies smell, like that chemical like smell. That's what it kind of tasted like. And I was like, what the hell? And at first I thought, you know what? It's probably just like the bowl. They probably just popped it out of the dishwasher. Maybe it's got some like residue left. And the more I sipped it, the more I realized I was probably tripping because like it didn't taste that much like chemicals after the first sip. So I thought, okay, like, yeah, it must have just been the bowl. So about 30 minutes later, I start to feel a little bit weird. okay, like my stomach's feeling weird. I'm talking to Dylan and his friends, and like I just feel like I'm on the verge of puking or something. And I just feel like shit. And you can kind of see it in my face. Like I look like visibly sick, like pale and like just sick looking. And Dylan notices this and he's like, yo, are you good? Like you've been staring into space for like the last 5 minutes and you look really like sick. And I was like, yeah, dude, I don't know. Like I do not feel good. He's like, did you drink any alcohol? And I was like, no, not at all. Nothing yet. He's like, all right, well, stay away from that. You're probably just still hungover from the night before, dude. Like, you're probably fine. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. So I kind of snap out of it for a little bit. I kind of like go back to the party and just like try and not think about the fact that I don't feel good. But every like 10 minutes, I just feel worse and worse and worse. And it gets to a point where I have to throw up. So I run in the bathroom, I throw up. And after that, I feel like shit and I'm even more dehydrated. So I go and drink that water again, which once again tasted really weird, like really just odd. So at this point, I'm like, all right, you know what? Fuck this. I dumped the water out after tasting like 2 sips of it because it still tasted weird and like cleaning supplies. So I just dumped it out, right? And I go back to my group of friends and I asked Dylan, I'm like, yo, do you know if like the dude that lives here has any like water, like bottles or anything? Because the water in the living room tastes really funny. And he's like, are you sure it's water? And I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, you can taste it for yourself. It tastes like they mixed it with like Windex or something. He's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, dude, go taste it if you don't believe me. So he goes in there and he tries it. He takes a little sip. And he's like, oh, yeah, what the fuck? It does taste weird. And then someone else spoke up in the living room. He's like, yo, I thought the same thing. It tastes like weird as hell. And all these people start kind of like speaking up about it. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one. Like, there's something in that water that's not right. So then Dylan goes over to the dude that's hosting the party, the one whose birthday it was, Jason or whatever his name was, and was like, yo, did you put that water out? Like, why does it taste so funny? And Jason's like, I didn't put any water out. What are you talking about? And he walks over and he sees this bowl of like clear liquid. And he's like, I didn't put this out. I swear, like on everything. So now everyone kind of starts freaking out because like there's this mystery liquid. Nobody knows who put it out. Pretty much everybody drank it because they thought it was water. And everyone kind of freaks out a little bit, right? But, you know, after like 5-10 minutes, we can't really find out who did it. You know, we're asking around and stuff, but nobody has any answers. So we kind of just dumped that out and went back to the party. And Jason was nice enough to put out some real water. So I started drinking that and so did everybody else. Well, about 15 minutes later, I got hit with something that was not normal. So I was still kind of nauseous, but it wasn't that this time. I start feeling weird. Like, super lightheaded, super like not normal, like not sober. I felt high. I don't know how to explain it. Like I felt very much like not in control of my own body. And also I start to see things. For example, I looked at the floor because in the kitchen there was this really old school, like cool pattern on the floor tiles. And I could swear that they were moving. Like there was this little angel painted on one of the tiles. And it looked like she was stepping forward and backwards, like just every couple of seconds, just moving forward, backwards. And I don't think they make floor tiles in kitchens that move. So I look up at Dylan and Dylan's like, yo, are you okay? And I was like, dude, I think whatever was in that water was like a drug and I'm feeling it. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, I'm seeing shit. He's like, what are you seeing? I was like, I swear, bro, like if I look down at anything or I look at anything for too long, it starts to move. He's like, bro, you're probably just sick, like you're dehydrated. Let's get some more water in you. So he has me drink more of the regular water, right? That did nothing. And I just keep getting worse. Like I keep just feeling like this weird doom, like anxiety feeling. I don't feel in control. I feel like high and everything I look at is moving. And it sucks because when you're having anxiety, all you want to do is like dial in on one thing and focus on it and just like try and take your mind off the fact that you're freaking out. But you can't when you're tripping balls because anything you look at is going to move. So I kept looking at all this different stuff and no matter what I did and what I focused on, it would be moving and I couldn't tell if it was real or fake. So I just go into a full-blown panic attack, right? And I'm just sitting in the corner of this living room, like freaking out, trying to talk myself out of it. And I'm trying to like just not focus on anything but talking myself out of this. So I just keep telling myself like, I'm all right. I'll be okay. Like it's just anxiety. Like you're just hungover, bro. Like don't worry. You didn't drink anything. Like you're okay. But I knew deep down that wasn't the truth. I knew there was something in that fake water. Well, like 5 minutes later, this girl comes up to me and she sits down next to me and she doesn't look so good either. So I try and make conversation with her because I figured that would help. And I was like, "Oh, not feeling good?" She was like, "No, not at all. Like, I don't know." And I was like, "Yeah, same here." She goes, "I don't get it. Like, I didn't even drink a lot. I had like 2 beers. Like, this is not normal." And I was like, "What are you feeling?" She's like, "I don't know. Like, I don't feel good. I feel like I got like laced with something." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "I'm having like visuals." And I was like, "Did you drink that water on the table that was like tasting funny? Cause like I drank it too and I'm having the same problem." And she's like, "Yeah, I did." And that confirmed it. Like, this shit had something in it. So I immediately go around and I start asking people like, "Yo, did you drink that? Like, do you feel okay?" And almost everybody's answering the same question. Like, "Yeah, I feel kind of weird." And the entire party basically within the span of an hour is like sick. Like, some of them are puking, some of them are tripping, some of them are enjoying it. Like, it's not good. And clearly somebody did some shit. Somebody at the party dosed everybody with something. And it was scary, dude. Like, pretty much half the party was having a horrible experience, and the other half either didn't drink it or weren't having that bad of an experience because they didn't drink a lot, or they were enjoying it. But it pretty much confirmed that there was some sort of drug in that, like, quote-unquote water. Now, Jason went around trying to find out whoever did it. Like, he tried calling around, asking people that had already left, and nobody had any answers. And I didn't expect him to find out because, obviously, like, nobody's going to fess up to that. Like, if you're a piece of shit who drugs an entire party of people, you're probably not going to tell the truth if somebody asks you if you did it. So, yeah, like, obviously, we were pretty out of luck when it came to that. But luckily, throughout the entire party, nobody got, like, badly sick. Like, there was a couple people that threw up and, you know, like, didn't look so good, but nobody had to, like, go to the hospital. Nobody had, like, seizures, you know what I mean? Like, nothing like that. Even though we probably should have went and got evaluated, we just didn't. So, after this, the rest of the party kind of played out okay. Like I said, it was very half and half, and a lot of us did not feel good. I ended up going home like an hour later, and I laid down, and I luckily fell asleep relatively quick. When I got home, it was kind of wearing off, and I was feeling a little bit better and just tired, so I fell asleep. And the next day, I felt completely fine, which was good. But we never found out who did it. And Jason didn't throw any more parties after that because he was so worried that that would happen again. And I don't blame him. That sounds terrifying. And I will mention, I tried to find the dude that said, like, "Yeah, that's water." Because if you remember earlier in the story, like, when I went to drink it, I asked somebody, like, "Is this water?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I thought it might have been him that did it. But I asked around and, like, described what he looked like because I didn't know his name. And nobody could really tell me because he just looked like the most generic guy on earth. I'm like, oh, he had, like, short brown hair, kind of messy looking, like, 6 foot, you know, didn't wear glasses, had a flannel on, black skinny jeans. And that was literally what, like, 99% of the party was wearing. So it didn't really narrow it down very much. So, yeah, we kind of just never found out who did it. And I never found out to this day what it was. I probably could have went to, like, the hospital, and they probably could have figured out what was in my system, but I didn't want to go to the hospital because I was scared. But that leads me to the next thing. Moral of this story is, if you drink something or ingest anything, and you end up, like, tripping balls and not feeling good, and you suspect somebody put something in what you drank or ate or whatever, go to the fucking hospital. No ifs, ands, or buts. Just go to the hospital. Like, I cannot imagine if whatever was in that liquid was any worse. Like, people could have probably, like, died. So, yeah, I'm lucky that it went the way it did and not any worse. So, yeah, guys, that's the story of how I got my water laced with something that made me trip balls and feel really, really, like, Doom-like. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
I be fully loaded, I be whipping foreign cars. Always stay devoted, mama knew I